I do ID random guy, you can see he's now a member of Sheep. And if I do vim etc group, oops, there we go. Give me insert. If I delete him here, rage quit, ID random guy, you'll see he will no longer be a member of that group. Same would apply if I was to add him manually to that group or any other user. I can change things manually in those files, but there really isn't a need for it, as you do have user mode, user add, group add, and so on. Not really that big of a deal. You can just use these commands in order to edit it. If you forget your syntax or if you can't remember it at a time, there's always the help, the man pages. There's just one more brief thing that I would like to show you, and that is how to delete a user. It's fairly simple. You just type in user del and then type in the user. Well, before we type in the user, let's take a look at the help bar. It's fairly simple. So user del, and what you want to do is pass in the argument R, remove home directory and mail spool, so that the home directory is removed as well. You don't want it to remain behind if you're deleting the user altogether. And now we shall type in Adam, who has been a member of Sheep and Meat and Marketing and Sales, and Adam has followed us along through, but now we are rootless and we are going to delete Adam. Why we're going to do that? Well, for the sake of demonstration. Anyway, go ahead and press enter, and user Adam is currently used by process 4687. Okay, let's do this. Let us force it. User del, user Adam is currently used by process. Group Adam not removed because it is not a primary group of user Adam. Okay, so group del Adam, goodbye. Adam is no longer in existence. We can verify this by typing ID Adam, ID Adam, no such user. We have logged into Adam before, or I have logged in here before with Adam, and it has just stayed up and running. That's why there is a user Adam that was used by process 4687, but that doesn't really matter. We could have also typed in kill for 687. That's not a wise thing to do, to kill it before we actually know what it is. We can do ps grep 4687, so 4687, and there we go. So we now know what is this process. We can read it here and then decide whether we wish to kill it or not, or we can use the force command and remove it. Let's just go ahead and visit the home directory, press enter ls. You can see that Adam is no longer, that the folder Adam is no longer here. Anyway, I bid you all farewell and wish you a ton load of luck. Welcome all to this tutorial. Today I will open up a chapter on configuring network interfaces and configuring networking in general in Linux Red Hat. So, in some previous tutorial I have showed you a simple command to see your IP address, which was basically ifconfig, and I told you that we would cover this in detail. Well, that is a partially true promise. Don't worry, I won't disappoint you. I will teach you about networking in Linux. However, we will not be using ifconfig. If you just go ahead and type in man ifconfig, there we go. It says down below where the note exists, this program is obsolete. For replacement, check IP-ADDR and IP-link. For statistics, use IP-S link. And believe it or not, most of the users today, they tend to use ifconfig for their day-to-day work, and system admins, they do use IP, but most of the regular users will still use ifconfig, even though it has been labeled as obsolete, I don't know, since before 2000, sometimes in the 1990s. But even when I'm not doing something important, or when I still have a habit of using ifconfig, it's just one of those commands that sticks with you. It's fairly simple and easy to use, so people do tend to use it. However, it is obsolete, and today IP is used instead. Let's just go ahead and clear the screen. IP command is fairly simple. Okay, I admit there are a considerable amount of arguments that are passed along with it, and it can accept a considerable amount of arguments. It's still not as complicated, but it is not as but it definitely does not possess the simplicity of ifconfig. So let's go ahead and have a look at a few examples. If I type in IP, if I press tab twice, you can see that there are quite a few options here. So if I type in addr show, I will get the IP addresses for my interfaces. And the interfaces in Linux can be named in three fashions. Well, I would say four, but three is something that is taken as a general standard. The fourth one, the logical naming, that's something completely different. That would be for VLANs, and that is not something that we are going to cover in the Red Hat Certified. That is not something that you're going to need in the Red Hat Certified System Administrator. Not for the time being, anyway. What the naming processes are, well, the naming processes are basically BIOS naming. So the manufacturer's ID of the network card, you can use that one, and that is how your network cards will be named. Network cards are usually marked as NIC, so like this. If you see somewhere in the net where it says NIC, it means network integrated card. Network cards do not need to necessarily be integrated onto your motherboard. They can also be USB adapters. So you can buy these on the net. People usually buy them for wireless. Also, there is a physical type of naming which is the same as BIOS, and there is a standardized way of naming interfaces, which is basically just typing ETH and then ETH, well, ETH0, ETH1, ETH2. I do believe that this is the default way of naming things on Debian, but doesn't look like it's the default way of naming things in Red Hat. So Red Hat has its own way of naming interfaces, and this is not it. Anyway, aside from that, let's just go ahead and clear the screen. We will go ahead and have a list of IPs, as I have just done. ADDR show. Just wanted to make the screen a little bit neater. And here we have the loopback interface, which is the first one, so LO. And we have the link loopback IP address. We're not really that interested in it. Those things are always the same. Down below we have, well, this is the loopback IP address actually here, 127.0.0.1, and this is always the same. It doesn't matter really on which operating system. On all Unix, Linux-like systems, it's 127.0.0.1. I do believe that it's exactly the same on Windows and definitely the same on Mac, if I'm not mistaken. Down below we have the interface that we are using. It's EMP0S3, and here we see the INET, which is the internet address. Sorry, not the internet address, which is the interface address. It's 192.16, the IP address which has been assigned to this interface. Let me put it so that's the proper term to say it. So we have it's 192.168.1.102, and this signifies slash 24. This signifies to which subnet does it belong, to which network does it belong. Let me put it so perhaps it is simpler. So to which network does this belong? This is actually, you can get a subnet mask from this, and then you can figure out exactly to which network it belongs by calculating the range. But that is well, I wouldn't say complex math. It's doable, but that is not a portion of, but that is not included in this course, as you will definitely not need it, as far as I know, for the Red Hat Certified System Administrator exam. Anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at some other things as well that we can do with IP. So if we type in IP link show, this will show me my interfaces. So we see that we have LO, it says loopback, and we have ENP0S3. Okay, so it says broadcast, multicast, up.